Hey Lou, and welcome to Michael's Minty Music for today. Today we review Duran Duran's 1988 album, Big Thing. It's alright, it has some really good songs, but most of the songs aren't really anything spectacular. This is the track listing, and these are the tracks I added to my playlist. 6 out of 12, 50%, mostly front-loaded at the beginning of the album. There's a few throughout side 2, but I take the first 3 tracks, and then after that, it's a little bit more messy. This album, it has a few songs that probably belong in Duran Duran's greatest hits, but the rest are not great at all. There are only a few that are sort of in between that, and they don't help pull the album up really at all. Something like Lakeshore Driving only happens at the end, and Big Thing happens at the beginning, and Land's kind of in the middle there. The album flows okay, and the bad songs here are still okay, so the album isn't bad, but the disparity in quality between the best tracks, I Don't Want Your Love, and Do You Believe in Shame, really hurt the album in terms of how the rest are not as good. But there was only one single released before the album, which was I Don't Want Your Love, which was on the radio along with All She Wants Is. And that one, I Don't Want Your Love, All She Wants Is, and Do You Believe in Shame are definitely the best 3 here. They're probably as good as any of their other stuff. The rest of the songs on the album are just not as good as pretty much anything else they had done at this point. So my favorite song here is definitely I Don't Want Your Love. It's probably, aside from the other 2, it's definitely the best out of the 3 good ones, and it could probably compete with any of the other really big hits in my opinion. So it's definitely the best one. So I rank Big Thing 7th out of Duran Duran's 15 albums, which puts it directly at the bottom of the upper half. This album is certainly better than a lot of their work that came after, mostly because it has a few really great songs and a bunch of alright ones, which manages to help it put a step above some of their later albums. But it fails to beat albums that are actually good, which are the top 4, and it loses out to Astronaut and Future Past due to both of those albums are just more consistent and still have some pretty good songs on them. Big Thing has a big disparity between how good the songs are on it, and Astronaut and Future Past are a lot more consistent and have probably just as good songs in my opinion. However, this album does take my top spot from 1988, although it's because this is the only album I've heard from 1988, so it gets the spot by default. I do think that a good album could unseat it from this spot, but an album that's just decent would probably have a hard time of it. Big Thing is still alright, but it's definitely, you don't really have to listen to the whole album. You can just listen to the few good songs on it, in my opinion. Next up is Guns N' Roses' second album, came out in 1988, called GNR Lies. I'm not sure if it'll take the top spot from Big Thing for the year, but it certainly is a possibility. If it's pretty good, then I feel like it could take it. So stay tuned for that, and as always, stay minty.